What a beautiful day for basketball, and we're bringing you the action of the ASEAN Basketball League straight from the Gor Kertajaya in Surabaya, Indonesia. My name is Jud Sulit. With me is Coach Martin Antonio. We're bringing to you action between the CLS Knights and the visiting Saigon Heat. And Martin, if the first game between these two teams was any indication of how this match will pan out, well, we're in for a treat.
Oh, definitely. After having a one-possession win, it's just a 2-point win for the Saigon Heat. The CLS Knights will be looking to get back at their tormentors, trying to get a win in their home floor right now.
Absolutely. Saigon won that first game, 82-80 on a Justin Young game winner. And now CLS trying to bounce back, and these are some of the keys that they will need to address.
Well, of course, transition defense. That's number one. You got to run down, run out of the shooters. You see closing out on the shooters. They gave up a lot of three-point shots on that game. If you look at the stats, 14 made three-point shots. That's 52 points out of the 82 points that they gave up on that game. The moment that they limit the shooters from the outside, they could have a better chance at winning this ball game.
And the reason why that's one of the keys to the game for the CLS Knights is because the Saigon Heat have been, well, hot to open up this ABL 9. They are 2-0, even getting a big win over the Macau Black Bears. Take a look at this again. More of the numbers. And it was Trayvon Hughes who led that fight back. But when Indonesia was leading in that first meeting with Saigon, Brandon Jawato was really doing good.
Oh, definitely doing some work right there, but it was Trayvon Hughes in the fourth quarter really putting in a lot of points. 13 out of his 29 points came in that fourth quarter run, gave them that cushion to really work with, and Justin Young, as you mentioned, providing the late game heroics.
Of course, very important as well. You saw it, the matchup in the middle between Maxi Esho and Kyle Barone. We're going to take a look at those two players later on, but let's check out the previous game of Saigon. They followed up their win over CLS with a big one over Macau.
Well, against the Macau Black Bears, they were really efficient, trying to get everyone involved. And their imports really putting in the work, playing not less than 37 minutes for all their world imports. And it's just their scoring and defense down the stretch that gave them that win.
And also CLS, they were able to bounce back in their second game, getting one over the Eastern Hong Kong Basketball Club, and that was also something very important for them to propel them into this match. Again, we said Trayvon Hughes, a first-time ABL import, has done a spectacular job in his first few games here in the league. Look at his numbers so far in the two games that he has played. You're taking a look at some of the highlights in their game against Macau.
And he gives them a point of attack. Every time that he has that basketball, getting through that ball screens, as you've seen some of his highlights, scoring 32.5 a game, 7.5 rebounds, 3 assists. He is the alpha dog of this ball club, and the moment that he gets his game going, they are very difficult to shut down.
On the other side, it is Brandon Jawato, one of the new locals of CLS, doing some damage as well. Of course, Maxi Esho, Stephen Hurt, and they are doing the job, a spectacular one leading the team, but have to credit Jawato providing the local support.
Well, of course, their last game, Jawato had 4 3-pointers. That's a big number, especially when you have your big guys underneath doing a lot of damage, and it opens up their offense, giving their penetrators a lot of floor space and their big guys to operate with their back to the baskets and just their cutters to have more time to finish their shots.
Absolutely. This is going to be a spectacular one. I mean, we talked about the first meeting between these two teams, and it was an epic one. Now that CLS holds home court against the visiting Saigon Heat, and we know how crazy this stadium can get supporting their favorite players.
Well, of course, they have the size advantage. If you only look at Stephen Hurt, he passes the eye test. The moment that you see him walk inside the floor, the size of this man he has a mismatch waiting to happen. The moment that they give him the basketball on the block and he controls that painted area, it would be light work for them.
We already discussed some of the keys for CLS in this matchup. What do you think are some of the things that will be very important for Saigon?
Well, Saigon has been putting in the work. The world imports for them, they are always there. Gordon Atowski needs to control that board. He had a not so efficient ball game during their last game. He had 20 and 10, but still, he needs to step up his game defending Stephen Hurt and the other big guys of the Knights.
Well, enough of the talking, of the hyping up of this game. It's time now to set up the floor for another matchup between the CLS Knights and the Saigon Heat. Saigon, of course. They are bannering a very new lineup right now. And on the other side, for CLS, they also made some changes. But the big thing for Saigon is the revamping of the roster they're bringing into the new season. Not a single player from last year's roster is returning for the Heat.
Every time that you re-engineer your team, you would be working with a lot of growing pains. We've seen them at times have possessions of they're not as fluid as how we have seen them before, but getting to wins justifies some of the means that their coaching staff and their management did. But we are still looking at, in the long run, how their players will perform on this system.
Absolutely. Well, the imports used Bernatowski, Barone. They have been spectacular, and they have been the anchors of the ship of the Saigon Heat in the 2 wins that they have gotten here. But obviously, you talk about Justin Young knocking down that big shot to lift him over the CLS Knights. And the locals, you're seeing a lot of production now from them on the part of the Vietnamese team.
We were talking about it off wax before we came into the gym. They only had a 7-man rotation last year. Right now, they're looking at a 9 to 10 guy rotation for their attack. And we are still waiting for them on the defensive side because they had a lot of lapses last game. That's why they gave up a lot of points and they were clawing back on the final possessions of that game.
But Sandy Corniawan is one of the dependable locals also of CLS. But of course, they are missing the services of key guy, Mario Woisang, a longtime member of the Indonesian national team. And he obviously had such a celebrated career with CLS, now as seen with the Wolf Warriors. But there have been guys, again, for CLS, also newcomers, trying to fill in that missing gap that was caused by the absence of Woisang.
Well, Woisang's production can be replaced, but the leadership and the effect that he has on his team, that's something that they are still looking for. They're looking for a veteran guy that would really take care of that load for their team.
And of course, when it comes to the imports, we cannot not talk about the new rule that cut off 4 imports. Instead, now you have 3 world imports. How do you see this affecting, influencing the season that we're going to see?
Well, it's very basic. We've seen Saigon play their imports not less than 37 minutes a game. So their production will dictate the campaign of the locals, how they would really support the production that they have. And overall, they are just the barometer for the team on how they will be performing.
We talked about Woisang leaving CLS, but incoming for them this season is Wong Wei Long, who is looking to be the orchestrator of this squad. Let's see if he can tow them to a bounce-back win, a revenge win over the Saigon Heat. Let's now turn it over to our court announcer. So the stage is set now for the rematch between the CLS Knights Indonesia and the Saigon Heat. And we've been talking about how the first game between these two teams went on. Coach Rosam of Indonesia will have his hands full today, of course. But since we're talking about the lineup of Indonesia, we have to mention that they have been using Maxi Esho, who previously suited up for the Saigon Heat. What's it like, Martin, to go up against a former team?
Well, definitely you would have an upper hand on how they are running the system if you're playing against a coach that you already played for. Number two, if you want to have an advantage, the guys who would be defending you, you know how they would play you because the coach will already have a game plan for you and you already have an idea on how he would be running his defensive schemes. But the key thing here is, as we mentioned, Saigon has a totally different lineup. So that's another wrinkle to that system.
It's also incredible how Saigon, despite fielding a new 15-man's roster, they are finding success. They are not needing that time of adjustment, of some gelling together, getting to know each other. They're just making it work right off the bat.
Well, every time you have an import like Trevon Hughes, you have Murphy, Barnatowski providing the interior presence for you and just the versatility across the floor, you would have an advantage over other teams who are still looking to gel.
That's right. Well, CLS, again, also introducing new names, one of whom is Brandon Jawato, but he has played spectacularly.
Shot the lights out.
Absolutely.
Shooting the lights out, given an opportunity to play off the big guys. Maxi Esho playing the power forward position now instead of his usual small forward position. He gets a lot of quickness advantages. So every time that there's a rotation on the defense, this guy, Brandon Jawato, gets an open shot.
And at the same time, when Maxi Esho was suiting up for the Saigon Heat last season, he was their primary big. There wasn't anyone who was taller than him on the team. And that's where Stephen Hurt comes in. And although in their previous meeting, he only got 9 points, the 16 rebounds that he got was very helpful for Esho in preserving Esho's energy for offense.
Well, every time you have a guy who is roughly around 280 pounds with his height and girth on the back line of your defense, it would be definitely an anchor for your defensive schemes. He controls the paint. You said 16 rebounds, provides the grit, and just the production on that 5 position gives the more versatile Esho an opportunity to create more shots from the outside.
Actually, the only returning member of the Saigon Heat, members that is, are the coaches. And Coach Kyle Julius and David Singletary. But they have done a marvelous job in reforming this squad, and they have taken a lot of preparation from the Vietnamese Basketball League. This team, they're taking into the ABL Season 9, won the championship actually, and just a confidence that they're bringing into the new season.
Well, every time you have a farm team that you could use, so to speak, farm team, it has a negative connotation, but the more reps you get, the better you would become. So these guys who had the reps from the Vietnamese league now on a bigger stage are asked and tasked to provide a lot more production for them and to just complement all the world imports that they have.
Well, now we'll get to meet the starters from both squads. For CLS, it's going to be Wong Wei Long, Maxi Esho, Monte Brandon, Brandon Jawato, and Stephen Hurt. On the other side, Justin Young, Trevon Hughes, Murphy Bernatowski, Kyle Barone, and Sang Din. Sang Din, another local who is looking to impress here. Very versatile. Looking at how Coach Kyle Julius is working through Trevon Hughes, it actually reminds me of how he was working through another very impressive guard last season in Akeem Scott. And I know they are of a different mold. Scott had that motor that could run for all 40 minutes. The experience that Hughes brings into this team is also of extreme importance.
It's more of a finesse game, the way that he maximizes the leverage that his team has, that his players has, and even the skill set that the big guys that they have, especially this guy, Bernatowski.
A miss, however, for Murphy from outside. Wei Long will set things up. Locating Brandon. Esho may have advantage against Young in this matchup. He's trying to go one-on-one, and Young had no other recourse but to give up a foul.
Well, every time that you have a taller guy who could shoot from 15 to 18 feet rather, and can back down against the smaller guys, you always go to him, especially coming off a good game.
What's going to be important in these two teams getting a strong start?
Oh, anytime you have a strong start, like any team, it would give you that leverage going into the second quarter. It gives you more energy. It gives your bench a whole different outlook coming in to sustain that attack.
And you hear the crowd already making noise here inside the Gorkerta Jaya. And no points
Exactly.
have been scored even.
And those are just 2 fouls.
But those could be very important. As we know, 5 fouls per team in a quarter, well, that gets you in penalty. And we expect a very closely contested ball game. Highly physical one as well.
Oh, definitely. And we were with our officials before the game, and they were trying to sift through the calls that they made, off-ball calls that were not called. And it would be very, very interesting.
As you see there, Young, how was he that wide open? And also great recognition from Barone.
And the rotation of the defense is not there, just being all alone on an island.
Young actually had all day to take that. Let's see if CLS can get those points back. Esho, they give him some space. Couldn't get that. Hughes with the board.
And that's what we're saying. Maxi Esho last year was operating underneath the paint. Now he has more space to shoot from the outside, more opportunities at that.
Sangten misses on the floater. Hurt taking the ball down. Big-to-big connection on the fast break.
And that's the versatility of Esho and Hurt. Not giving up on the play, just running his route properly, going to the middle of the defense, catching it, and finishing it.
If I were the last line of defense on a Stephen Hurt fast break, I'd probably get out of his way.
Well, anytime that you see the surname Hurt and you see the size of this guy, you would get out of his way running down.
Well, Barone answers back with a deuce of his own. Under 8 minutes to play in the first period. Hurt again from outside. Locating Esho, trying to post Bernatowski down. Jawato from outside continues to knock it down from deep.
And that's a local special for you. Kick out on the outside, getting a look from the help side, the on-ball defender. Basic kick out pass, and that's a rinse and repeat play.
Saigon down by 1 point. Barone spinning. The layup no good. Ball tapped away. Jawato sending it to Esho. Esho finishes the fast break.
And good move right there. Just get a bounce. You saw the defender backpedaling. Just attack him while he is in stride and then finishing up top.
Another display of versatility from Maxi Esho.
That's what you like, Jude. Every time you're big guys, we saw the play big-to-big passing. It was Hurt going into Esho and then going back to Hurt. And then the next play, you see Esho running. You got to reward the big guys every time that they gash the paint.
And this is where you'll see the foul. That is where the foul was called. Didn't quite see it on the replay. 7:03 remaining in the first quarter. 7-4 is the lead of the CLS Knights. What does Saigon have in response? Hughes has yet to score in this game, working against Jawato.
And you see the maturity on how he handles the rock, how he goes into his first move. Usually, if you see younger players, they would put in more moves. They would put you on a hesitation right away, going with full speed. Hughes has that change of pace and that relaxed mood when it comes to attacking, and then he just sets you up perfectly and attacks you on angles.
How about Bernatowski? Just taking it to the heart of the defense of Saigon, of CLS, getting those 2 points.
This guy's just no nonsense, just gets his lunch pail, puts the job, and gets the job done.
Same thing for Wei Long. If there's one thing that Wei Long has proven in the ABL, it's that he's not afraid of the size of other defenders.
Oh, this guy's a former Heritage MVP. Could play on the two guard position, on the point guard position. Right now, he is that point guard position, and just a tough competitor.
Absolutely, just one of 2 back-to-back local MVPs. The other one in Ray Parks. But look at the Saigon Heat. Well, you know that even with the Knights taking the early strides in this game, the Heat would just not let them break away easily.
And they were playing catch-up during their last game against the Black Bears and just getting into the groove towards the end of the game. But giving up cheap fouls like this, I think it's their third team foul right now. You don't want to see your team giving up cheap fouls.
That's the reason why Sang Din will have to exit the game after picking up his second. Did you see it as a ploy to really take the ball away from Wei Long?
Anytime Wei Long has the basketball, good things happen for the Knights. He creates, he makes shots, and makes his teammates better. The more times that he's not holding on to the rock, the better it is for the Saigon Heat to get this win.
And as you say that, you see why. They've been denying Wei Long. Now has 4 points in the game. Saigon's lead, Saigon's deficit up to 3 points. Chris Shirker, straight from the bench, looking to score immediately, was stopped there.
And two big guys of the Knights are right there just raising their hands. That's the beauty
Wei
of their
Long
defense.
misses this time. Up high for the board was Young. Hughes looking to go offensively. He sees that opening and the defense was just left in the rear view mirror.
And that's just the change of pace. You see him going down, looking not explosive, and then putting in a move, just a basic hesitation, going too strong to the cup and getting that layup to go in.
I've also seen Jawato struggle a couple of times in this game already with, I don't know if it's the sole of his shoes that's slippery or maybe the floor, but could also be a part of why he was left open. But look at that! Brandon also was open for the two-handed jam.
And how about that? Just a breakdown on the defense, get one dribble in and elevate, finish. That's how you should be finishing.
And in front of this home crowd here in Surabaya, Monte Brandon putting on a show. Wei Long from outside, no. Bernatowski with the board. He's leading the transition of the Saigon Heat. Looking for options. Barone asking for it. Hughes saw Jerker. Struggled for some space, but Barone was there to mop up the mess.
And that's what he does best. He is just around the painted area. It's an extra possession guy. Gets you those trash baskets underneath. Plays hard defense on the other side.
And again, we've been talking about some slippery spots there. Esho becoming a victim of one.
Might be the humidity because the crowd right here, right now, is through the rafters.
And you see them battling the Heat because we are packed here inside Gorker Tajaya. It's the first time out of this ball game. The Knights up here by 1 point. 3:59 left in the first. Back in the ball game, Saigon Heat down, but just by 1 point. They've seen some good production off the bench from Durker. Can they finally take the lead here?
And we also see the Knights pushing the tempo. A few possessions, they're attacking on the primary and secondary breaks, getting a lot of baskets there, and capitalizing on the breakdown of the primary defense of the Saigon Heat.
Well, you see that attack from Justin Young. And the moment that he made his way to the basket, it reminded me of that game-winning play he had the first time these two teams met, because in that play, he was actually stopped initially, but he just went to the basket strong enough to just find something and get that bucket that gave them the lead.
And if you look at the stature of this man, he looks like he's built like a brick. And he attacks the basket with intent. He wants to get there, either get a foul, get 2 free throws, or get a basket.
Young, however, misses on the second free throw. He's averaging 9 points and 4.5 rebounds in the 2 games that Saigon has won. The kick out, way long. Swinging it to Jawato. They reset Esho. Only 6 seconds on the shot clock. Does Hurt know it? He puts it up. Jumper finds the bottom of the net.
He's showing some touch. How about that guy?
Earlier, we saw him carving out some space inside. We saw him take the ball down. And now a jumper.
He can't only carve it from the inside. He could also use his depth footwork to create those shots.
A bit too much positioning for Saigon. Oh, but it looks like the foul is called on CLS. Way Long will be whistled for that one, so Saigon will actually keep possession.
Trying to hook the guy on the box out underneath the board.
Oh, we know that if you're a smaller guy, you definitely have to try to get creative in getting that ball away from the bigger man.
Trying to put that veteran smarts into good use.
Absolutely. Arif Hidayat has checked into the game. Quick inbound to Barone. He was fouled. That was a brilliant move for him.
Very patient at that, trying to get that pump fake to go in, using his pivot to pivot away from the defender and earning 2 free throws on that.
Foul was called on Hurt. Only his first personal. Barone to the line. Averaging 16 and 11 in the minutes that he's been playing in the 2 games of Saigon so far. No joke. Over 38 minutes.
Type of player that you like, doesn't call for the ball, doesn't have plays ran for him, but still gets the production, gets the rebounds, does the dirty work.
But couldn't get any points there. Oh, Hughes taking the ball away from Brandon from the blind side. Barone from outside. Oh, there it is. He did not want a tie game. He wanted the lead.
That's just a step in 3, dials it and books it on the arc. And nobody was like 3 feet around him for that shot attempt.
And again, it just goes to show you how positionless basketball is. Hughes almost getting another steal. Hidayat out to Jawato, was fouled by Young, a bit too sticky on the closeout.
And caught with his hands on the cookie jar. Instead of just extending his hand on the closeout, he tried to poke the ball out of the hands of the penetrator. That's why he was called for a personal foul.
That's going to be the 4th team foul for Saigon. So the next one will result to free throws for CLS. On the other side, the Knights are already in penalty. Brandon to Jawato. Unleash the 3 but misses. Young, another board for him. To the cup. Saigon gaining some ground now, up by 3.
How about that fake behind the back pass, cocking the ball and finishing with a strong hand? Yes, that's his left hand. Talking about
Bernatowski. Again, this time from outside. That's a miss. CLS gaining control under 2 minutes remaining. Saigon has taken the advantage here in the first quarter. The Knights working a 2-man game. Jawato and Hurt, they involve Esho. Nice high-low play between the 2 bigs, but that was stopped by Durker.
And that was a deep seal. That should have been a bread and butter play for Stephen Hurt, but missed that jump hook.
Bernatowski missed on the last one, but this time knocks down the 3-pointer from the corner.
And how about the World Imports? Really playing like veterans, no rush shots. Every shot that they take have a very, very good look in them.
7 points now for Murphy Bernatowski. Same total for Kyle Barone. Hurt drops his defender, leaves him with a wide open J.
For a guy his size, he has a very soft touch. Despite missing the jump hook, dribbling in and pulling up on the top of the key, that's a very, very good shot for him.
And Martin, we're just going back and forth here. Exactly the kind of game we expected between Saigon and CLS. Trayvon Hughes doesn't get the corner triple. 40 seconds remaining in the first quarter. 21-17, the visiting Heat up by 4. Esho asking for it. They give it to him against Bernatowski. Hurt on the kick out. 20-footer is good. Stephen Hurt now with 6 points.
And trading places, instead of him getting that high-low play, it was Esho trying to capitalize on his height and length advantage. But when the kick out gets to Hurt, he just loves that step-in jumper.
Trayvon Hughes trying to get the last bucket. Sends it out. Barone from outside, no. And that will be the first quarter. 21-19. Early on, it was CLS gaining advantage, but Saigon with a late quarter run.
And their world imports just putting in work. Barone, Barnatowski, and Hughes really making things work for the Saigon Heat.
At the end of the first quarter, the visiting team, Saigon Heat, up by 2, 21-19. Back inside the Gorkar Tajaya for the continuation of ABL 9, Saigon Heat and the CLS Knights Indonesia, hoping to rise to greatness. And they've had respectable starts here in the 9th season of the ABL. Of course, Saigon 2-0, getting their first win over CLS and the second one over Macau. What would you say has been the biggest part of, the biggest reason behind their early success?
Well, if you look at it, going back to the eye test, it's the world imports really living up to the hype of having them and having a new team. Technically, it's a totally new team for the Saigon Heat, and being able to find the right mix of players to go with the locals is very integral for that first 2 wins.
Shot Sulit and Martin Antonio on deck to serve you. That was a miss from Hughes. Saigon actually shot a terrific 9 for 14 in the first quarter. But in the second, it's Maxi Esho finding the bottom of the net to begin with.
Being more confident that they have another big guy underneath to take care of the boards when he shoots those outside shots. And he was really open for that.
Barone looking for options. Sees Bernatowski. Murphy backing down Brandon. Puts it up, it's a miss.
And good defense right there by Monte Brandon, not giving any inch to the strong side of Barnatowski to the left side. That's why it was a 4-shot.
And you did mention earlier that the CLS Knights have been trying to push the pace of this ball game. The problem why Saigon was able to get the lead late in the first quarter was because of the turnovers of Indonesia.
You don't want to see them throwing away a lot of that rock. They just want to be more opportunistic because Saigon plays like a veteran team. They get the possessions, they grind you out, and they take the best available shot when it's down on their shot clock.
And Durker flexing some muscles. And that's enjoyed by the bench of Saigon. Why not? 3-point play opportunity here for the Heat, courtesy of Durker.
And that was just a grown man move. Getting a post up, throwing his shoulder to the defender, creating enough space, absorbing the contact, and making the shot.
Again, the Saigon Heat on top by 2 points after Chris Durker completed the end one play. 24-22, 8 minutes and change remaining in the second quarter. For CLS, it's Hidayat, Nugroho, Bascoro, Esho, and Brandon. From the corner, ball was lost. Oh, what a block there from Hughes! Completely rejecting that shot from Bascoro.
And he almost jumped over him to get that shot block.
Esho tried to fight hard to get another possession but lost real estate. He was claiming that he was pushed from behind.
Almost an offensive rebound for Maxi Esho. Nobody blocking out. He came from the opposite wing area, outside the three-point line, trying to crash that party. Wasn't able to handle that basketball.
Hughes being guarded by Hidayat. They're looking for Barone, posting up Esho. Kyle, ball was tripped. Durker again, banging bodies once more. You know, for all of his effectiveness down in the paint, he can put up some wild shots.
Exactly.
When he meets someone who can put up with the strength that he puts down in the paint.
If you're watching on HD, you will see how thick his shoulders are. That's why he tries to bully people in the paint. But during that possession, somebody put a chest on his shoulder. That's why it was a wild shot.
Well, Firmano Groho has been guarding imports for the longest time here in the ABL, and it's because his strength
and he can take some hits.
Esho surveying the floor. Out to Hidayat. Poor spacing. Oh, Hidayat? Did he get away with a travel there?
That's the new FIBA rule. You could get that gather step and elevate.
Exactly. Bernatowski misses long rebound taken by CLS. Hughes tapped it out of bounds.
And you gotta love the demeanor of Trevon Hughes. Anytime that they have a turnover, a bad shot, he just goes down, doesn't shout at his teammates, doesn't demand the ball, plays defense, and just goes about the business.
Absolutely. And Hughes looking to lead Saigon to another win over CLS. We have a timeout. 24-22 is the advantage of the Heat. Second quarter of action between the Saigon Heat and the CLS Knights here inside the Gorkerta Jaya. The visiting team up 24-22. Jot Sulit and Martin Antonio on the mic here, delivering you the game straight from Surabaya, Indonesia. Trayvon Hughes, the import who brought the fight back to Saigon when they were trailing for practically most of the game the first time these two teams met. And then in the end, it was Justin Young giving the Saigon Heat a 2-point lead. The Heat were able to hold on to that and get that opening day win. And of course, it's so important, Martin, to start your conference, your season with a big win.
Oh, definitely. It would be a springboard for your campaign. It's a confidence booster for you, and you would see a lot of things that you could work with as we see Trayvon Hughes coming off that stagger screen.
Missed three there, giving a chance for CLS to operate on offense. Jawato, after some rest, some stint on the bench, kicks it out to Hidayat. Dials the three, and it connects.
And it was a good help side defense by Trevon Hughes on the penetration, but the helper's helper, the one guy who needs to rotate on the corner, left that guy open. Hidayat making the three.
Good setup as well for Saigon, but Young couldn't get that to fall. Usually it's Chawato who is the recipient of a kick out, but showing that he can also work some damage. Esho missing the layup. And Barone, that's the smarts of a veteran, tapping that ball out.
Another move that maximizes the rule book. Anytime the ball is inside the cylinder, you could slap it out.
And that was a fantastic find also for Barone, doing everything for Saigon. He's got 7 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists.
That's the beauty of this two guys. Talking about Murphy, Bernatowski, Kyle Barone, they can do a lot of things. They can dribble the basketball, they can attack, and they can pass.
Jawato looking to take charge for CLS, but missing on the layup. Hughes gets some opening, knocks down the three.
Just gets an inside-out move, creating enough space, pulling up on the secondary break and making a three.
4:50 remaining. Saigon making some strides here. Quick points being delivered by their imports. Cornyawan out to Hurt. Ball is lost. And in transition, Hughes misses, but that allows a putback from Bernatowski. The Saigon Heat with the run here that has given them a 31-25 advantage, and it has led to a timeout called by the CLS Knights. 4.5 minutes remaining in the second quarter. We'll be back. Stephen Hurt looking to spark something for his squad to get back, as it has been a 7-0 run from the Saigon Heat that has built a 6-point advantage for them.
7-point run, 1 3-point shot by
.20 remaining. Brandon Hurt, you see him trying to get position down low, asking for some help. Cornyawan, specialty of the house, misses. Monte Brandon couldn't get anything. He's been getting the boards, but not the buckets here in the game.
And he has been on the spaces that he can be very effective, and he gets those loose balls, as you said, but still, after that dunk, he hasn't produced a lot of points.
Bernatowski from outside. Front rims the three. Hurt grabbing his 5th board. Stephen Hurt was impressive in the first quarter. Almost a travel there for Brandon. Wei Long has returned to action. Cornyawan gets rid of Celia but could not knock down the three.
Had the advantage, getting a read on the back door, going back out.
Hughes out to Barone. The big man with the triple misses. That's going to be a foul on Hughes. Jawato already had control of it, and you know, it's something that some
being
players,
too over-eager.
Yeah, because of their talent also, because they
pick out the
average
basket.
a lot of steals, they feel like they can take every basketball away from opposing players.
Especially the smaller guys. Every time a bigger guy would try to get a rebound and put it down, they would take a swipe at you 99% of the time. The other 1%, they would swipe at your arm.
And that was the 1% right there with
exactly.
Hughes getting called for the personal. Two-man game, Jawato and Hurt. They want to get it down low. 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Hurt knows it. takes the shot, misses this time. And CLS, Martin has gone cold here in the second.
Yes, after leading by a point, 25 to 24, 7-0 run.
Their last bucket was a three-pointer from Hidayat at the 6:05 mark. So they've been silent for more than 3 minutes as an alley-oop completed by Barone. What a pass also from Hughes.
They're getting 9 points out of their world imports. Trevon Hughes with a 3. 2 baskets underneath by Barnatowski. And then a dunk by Barone. That's the 9-0 run for you.
Hurt looking to stop that blitz. Couldn't do so. Barone with another board.
Using his length to just try to be in front of Stephen Hurt. Despite giving up close to 30 pounds, I guess.
Hughes couldn't get the 2 points. Again, you know, there have been stops, multiple ones for CLS, but they are not getting buckets until this one from Brandon Joato. We highlighted this guy, top of the coverage, and he is the one who stops the 9-0 blitz of the Saigon Heat.
And taking that mini fast break and getting the ball inside the paint because they can't make outside shots. The past few tries, they tried shooting from the outside. Joato getting it right inside the paint and finishing with contact.
Still a 6-point lead for Saigon, but this could be a start of a counter run for the CLS Knights. There's a timeout on the floor under 2 minutes remaining in the first half. After a fantastic start from Stephen Hurt and the CLS Knights back in the first quarter, they seem to have lost their rhythm here in the second. That allowed Saigon to build an advantage. What changed for them, Martin?
Well, Stephen Hurt hasn't been making his shots. He had two tries underneath the basket, wasn't able to make a shot. And points in the paint, it's just very basic basketball, higher percentage shots for the Saigon Heat, 20-12, capitalizing on a lot of run-outs, especially from their big guys.
What's impressive for me for the Saigon Heat, they haven't committed a single turnover in the entire game. On the other hand, CLS has 6, and that has been converted into 8 turnover points by the Heat. As you see another bucket from Bernatowski.
And he has that awkward, the first step, getting into the shot, throwing his body at you. And he used high glass on that shot.
It reminds me really of a guy we also saw here in the ABL last season, Christian Sandhardinger.
Well, awkwardness is his middle name, but productivity is his first name.
That's his nickname, actually.
Exactly.
Another turnover, though, for CLS. Can the Heat convert again? Bernatowski will try his luck from outside. Couldn't get it. Durker offensive board. Under a minute to play in the first half. This Saigon lead continues to grow. Bernatowski against Hurt. They give Murphy some space. The extra pass. Oh, Durker just lost that. And that's going to be a 24-second shot clock violation on the Saigon Heat. Their
and
first turnover.
Finally, the first turnover and a good defensive stop there by the Knights. Rotating properly, putting their body in the paint and not giving up that basket underneath.
But if you're Saigon, if you're Coach Kyle Julius, Do you want that one-on-one from Bernatowski
Oh, of
taking
course.
on
Anytime.
Stephen Hurt?
Anytime. Stephen Hurt looks the part of being a 5 guy. Has a soft touch, but when he is on the defensive side of the basketball, he gets out of 18 feet, and you have a guy who could face up, could put in a move or two, and maximize his foot speed. That's where you go.
Monte Brandon spinning, getting creative, was sent back by Kyle Barone. And it's a lot of one-on-one play we're seeing from CLS.
We haven't seen them run any pattern for the past 5 possessions. If you give them an opportunity, the only basket that they had is that Brandon Jowato finish in the paint.
Last shot time. Trayvon Hughes couldn't beat the buzzer. And that will be the end of the first half, with the Saigon Heat erecting an 8-point advantage, 35-27, behind the brilliance of Murphy Bernatowski, leading the way with 13 points. Kyle Barone also helping out, 9 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. We'll break down what happened in the first half in just a bit. We'll take a short break. It's halftime here inside the Gor Kertajaya in Surabaya, Indonesia, with the home team, the CLS Knights, looking up to an 8-point deficit being enjoyed, the advantage being enjoyed by the Saigon Heat. That's why you see anxious looks on the faces of the fans of the Knights here in attendance. They were raucous to begin with when the Knights were making strides, but Saigon had a comeback and eventually stole the lead. Jot Sulit and Martin Antonio here to talk about the game with you guys. Martin, what did you see there in the first half?
The pace in the second quarter slowed down deliberately. 14-9, that was the scoring. 14 points for the Saigon Heat, 9 for the CLS Knights. A lot of turnovers forced. Key stats, steals. The Saigon Heat had 5 steals. The CLS Knights doesn't have one. Turnover points, 8 points for the Heat, none for the CLS Knights. Points in the paint. The Saigon Heat just went painting on the defense of the Knights, 22-12. A lot of those are just coming off passes, and that's the easiest baskets.
Well, we also saw the struggles of CLS, particularly in the second quarter. Like we said, even though Saigon ended the first quarter with a 2-point lead, CLS really controlled the pace of that first period, and they were ahead for most of it, save for a late quarter rally by the Heat. And the Knights shot 9 for 14 from the field in the first 10 minutes. But in the second quarter, they were a lowly 3 for 17.
And that's the big part. Anytime that you run, especially on your home floor, the fans get involved. It gives you more energy. That's why this happened. A 9-point run for the visiting team gave them that cushion that they needed. And it was quite some time before they got their first field goal after that run.
We also heard from Coach Brian Rosom at the half being interviewed. He was saying that one thing that led to their struggles was they were missing easy shots or open looks. But the other one was that they were not able to execute their plays. What did you see in that offense of CLS? What were the necessary corrections?
Well, it was not the offense of the CLS Knights, to say the least. It was the defense of the Saigon Heat. Anytime that somebody tries to gash the defense, the help side defender is there. There was a few breakdowns on that defense. They gave up the outside shots. Definitely the corner 3 is there. But the Knights were not making those shots. The moment that the Saigon Heat was able to clamp down on defense, they were able to run. They were able to get a lot of points on the fast break, a lot of points on the secondary breaks.
Now, we've been mentioning that the imports of Saigon have been carrying the load. 29 points so far between the 3 imports, Trayvon Hughes, Murphy Bernatowski, and Kyle Barone. On the other side, for Indonesia, for the CLS Knights, you have Esho with 5, Monte Brandon with just 2 points, 1 of 5 shooting, and then Stephen Hurt scored all of his 8 points in the first quarter on 4 of 5 shooting, but missed his 2 attempts and was scoreless in the second. The burden will have to fall on one of them, I guess, to try and lead the surge to come back in this game. Who will it be?
definitely it would be Maxi Esho for one because he has the ball most of the time. He is the one triggering the offense. He is the point of attack. Monte Brandon needs to be at par at least with the production of Kyle Barone across the board. We said before the half ended, he had 9.7 rebounds and 4 assists. If he could at least neutralize that production, they would have a better chance at winning.
Well, the first time that these two teams met, again, Esho played his former squad for the first time in that win that Saigon got, an 82-80 thriller over CLS. In that match, Maxi Esho led the way for CLS with 27 points on a very efficient 11 for 19 shooting. And I'm pretty sure somehow Coach Kyle Julius, understanding how his former player operates, made some adjustments. How was Saigon able to stop Esho?
Well, right now, every time he gets the basketball, Murphy Barnatowski will be in front of him, pushing him out if he tries to go on the block or staying in front of him when he tries to attack from the outside. It will be interesting how the CLS Knights would be running him off ball to get that offense from him.
Interesting. The girls you just saw there are members of the Indonesian women's basketball team, supporting, of course,
Might
the
provide
CLS
a few
Knights.
firepower for them, to say the least. They need some points.
Do they have extra jerseys? Start of the third quarter, Trayvon Hughes, short on his first attempt. Esho with a rebound, and we'll see if he can finally spark something.
You see their pace. Every time they get a rebound, they try to walk the ball down as if they are leading. They need to push the pace now.
Esho looking for Brandon. And that's a good start, Martin.
And you're looking for a guy that needs to step up. Monte Brandon right on cue, stepping into the paint, crashing and getting a pass on that zone O.
And when you said that Esho needs to step up and lead the way, I'm sure you weren't necessarily saying him scoring.
Definitely, not only in scoring, but it's just being the overall catalyst, the leader of this team, being more aggressive, being more attentive. Because right now, he has 5 assists rather, and that's involving his teammates.
Oh, a travel. A good call by our referees. The ball got caught on the hip of Kyle Barone, and that led to that turnover. Again, we haven't seen a lot of errors from Saigon. That's just their second turnover, and we're already in the third quarter.
And the first one came before the end of the second quarter. That is why no turnover points for the CLS Knights. One of their strong points, to say the least.
Yep, it's important to note that in the win that CLS got over Hong Kong Eastern, they scored 18 turnover points, so that was key.
And out of their 87 points, 18 points, that's a big chunk, especially if you play hard defense, force the offensive team to sprint back. That adds more mileage to their bodies. That gives them, that gets them more tired in the end game.
Let's talk a bit more about that win from CLS and compare that to how they're performing here today. They shot 13 of 25 from three-point range. And in the first half of this match, Martin, they struggled, only 3 for 11 from downtown.
But the shots are there. As we said, the rotations of the Saigon Heat would always move towards the basketball, and open creases on the offense will be there. It's just a matter of shot making.
Monte Brandon with a fast break jam, and that was a product of another turnover forced by the CLS Knights. And it looks like that wake-up call from Coach Brian Rosum has worked for CLS.
Somebody might be on live stream and just heard you say that they're not forcing enough turnovers. And Monte Brandon running the floor well, just using his quickness as we see him get another basket, 6 points in the quarter.
Martin, you asked for that man to step up, and so he did. All of the 6 points of the CLS Knights in the third quarter have come from one man, Monte Brandon. After going 1 for 5 in the first half, he starts out the third quarter with a rally, a personal run that has brought his CLS Knights within 2, 35-33. We have a timeout on the floor. We'll be back with more of your ABL. And now the pressure is on the Saigon Heat. And the fans inside Gorkartajaya starting to come alive again. Of course, there are
Definitely.
some, like that lady, a bit still quiet. She's still waiting for the lead to be back with CLS.
And a
but
bigger run for them because they start
Absolutely.
the third quarter with a 6-0 run. And their defense is finally picking up, denying the wings, helping out on penetration. They force a turnover that turned to a basket.
imagine just one turnover for Saigon in the first 20 minutes of play. But in the first 2.5 minutes of the second, they already got two. Bernatowski, the hot hand in the first half, may have gone a bit cold here. Baron, that was a bad fall. We saw him get shaken up when he collided with the goalpost.
But taking a page out of Taylor Swift, he just shaked it off. Shook it off, stand up. That's what World Imports do. And he has been playing well, really, really well for them. He got his 8th board on that sequence, getting a foul, just getting his body on the right spots despite giving up. I don't know. I'm just doing an estimate, 30 pounds against Hurt.
Hurt complaining, saying that there was no foul. But that lane just opened up for Baron.
Oh, definitely. Now you see any person that is matched up with Stephen Hurt, they try to attack him from the outside, getting a point of attack, making contact, and forcing him to use his legs on defense.
Now the players opting for some mind games as CLS was huddling up. Trayvon Hughes tried to listen in, and he was pushed away. I believe it was Esho who pushed him back, forcing Hughes. You see him still complaining about being pushed away. But I guess it's also an unwritten rule in basketball.
Definitely.
What's your take on unwritten rules? I mean,
number one is you don't like other teams making baskets when you're down big. Well, you need to play defense the whole game. You gotta to prevent baskets like that, to prevent big leads. You shouldn't be playing hard the whole time and crashing into a huddle. You would definitely get hit if you try to do that.
oh, that seems to be fuel to the fire that the CLS Knights are engaging in right now. 2 more points for Jawato. He's got 7.
And it's a 10-2 run right now for the CLS Knights. And
Sang Din losing his balance there, getting called for a travel.
the home floor, helping a little bit to the cost of the CLS Knights.
We have to note, however, that has happened earlier to Brandon Jawato. It happened to Maxi Esho. He lost his balance. And this is the side where those 2 earlier incidents happened, with Jawato and Esho and the CLS Knights shooting on that side of the floor earlier. Now it happens to Sang Din.
Finally, the humidity might be becoming a factor because, as we know, it was drizzling earlier this afternoon.
You'll see it here. His left foot would slip.
Just losing traction.
Wei Long back in the game. Attacking, getting rid of the defense, but comes up short on the layup.
Short arms that layup. Wanted to go high glass because the challenge was there.
Sang puts it up. No go on the 3, and rebound goes to the biggest player here in the 3rd period, Monte Brandon.
And he looks like he just came alive after that halftime break.
Ball is lost, however. Sang completing the steal, and Trayvon Hughes just splitting the defense.
You saw that hesitation, attracted the guy to pick out the steal, went underneath semi-nutmeg for him, and just breaking the double.
And I'm impressed at how Trayvon remains in full control of his dribble, because as a player, when you see other guys slipping on the floor, I know it causes some sort of
At the back
mental
of your
trauma.
mind. Exactly.
You don't necessarily expect yourself to slip, but you, of course, don't want to.
And especially if you're running full speed on a fast break and you have 2 defenders to beat. Might be a factor, but not for Trayvon Hughes.
Hughes will be shooting a technical free throw. We're still trying to get word on who the technical was slapped on. Definitely an infraction. Oh, it looks like An unsportsmanlike foul. Could be on Wei Long. Hughes, however, splits the free throws.
A very interesting call by our officials, especially on an unsportsmanlike foul, because we were saying that he was trying to beat a double team on the break. There's a guy on defense that is already in front of him. Interesting call. As we see another slip by Maxi Esho.
And Hughes just capitalizing on that. There's been some beef developing between Esho and Hughes. Here's Maxi. Steps back. Three-pointer is off. Ball lands out of bounds. Looks like Coach Brian is looking for more
fluidity. More fluidity on their offense, because we should remember the first two baskets that they had here was coming off a stop and coming off a pass by Maxi Esho.
Bernatowski starting to play. Hughes left open. Money on the three.
Great execution on that pin down screen, and the second screener coming up, getting the defender, knocking him on the shoulder, and giving Trayvon Hughes a free look on the three.
And just like that, the Saigon lead back to 8. Brandon going to work again. He's not yet done here in the third.
Putting that Euro on the move. Great sidestep. 10 points for him and just going after it.
But they forget that Trayvon Hughes is catching fire as well.
Take overtime.
Esho. Hurt will try from outside. Almost got that to fall. Hughes with the rebound. Board number 5 for him. Pulls up from deep. Heat check time for him and didn't fall in. Monte Brandon leaving it for Hurt. Hurt gets the basket, and he was fouled by Sang Bin.
And that was what Coach Rossum was telling the boys. Try to move the ball, try to involve your teammates. Right there, Monte Brandon going strong to the middle, attracting the rotation on the defense, dropping it at the last moment, and Stephen Hurt taking care of business.
Din will commit his third personal foul. It's about time that Hurt produces again.
Scoreless in the second quarter.
Yep, and that's his first 2 points in the third.
Gives him 10 points right now.
But take a look at the production too of the Saigon Heat imports. All of them, all 3 of them, already in double digits in scoring. Well, that's what you expect with the talent and the kind of...
And that's why they were brought here.
No, absolutely.
Exactly.
And that is also why Saigon remains undefeated so far in the 9th season of the ABL. Bernatowski looking to add to his total. Couldn't do so. Jawato, Young guarding him. Trayvon Hughes gets away. Walk in the park. Will finish with a mailman layup.
I was about to say that Karl Malone layup, putting the hand behind the head.
I wonder what Karl Malone was thinking the first
I don't
time
know.
he pulled that off.
I don't know. We should definitely ask him if we get an opportunity.
Almost another steal. Jawato recovers. Monte Brandon.
How about this guy? Double digits in the third quarter, being more active, having more bounce to his step, right there, reading the defense properly, going to the baseline on the backside read, and just finishing in traffic with the contact.
Again, only 2 points and 1 of 5 shooting in the first half for Brandon. But now here in the second half, he's gotten 10 points on 4 of 5 shooting. Check that. That's 5 of 6 already for Brandon. And what's more important, Martin, is he just fished for the 4th personal foul of Justin Young.
And that's big because Justin Young was in foul trouble in the first quarter, and the first half rather, and going into the third quarter, picking up that 4th personal foul. That's very big for them, especially for their offense.
Celia from the corner, no good. Durker losing the basketball. Crowd reacting to it, as well as the Saigon Heat. The visiting team feeling like there should have been a foul. But of course,
you won't get fouls if you go up that soft and you're that big. Let's put it at that. He got the offensive rebound, could have gathered himself and tried to put in more contact inside the paint, but he opted to get the rebound and just go off soft. you won't get fouls like that. Those calls would be not there.
A good stop there for CLS. Now it's time for them to convert it into a bucket. Hurt trying to get possession against Turker. Great defense from Chris.
And that's how you make a play.
Bernatowski. Oh, he was stopped there. Great defense for Brandon, and he's pumped up.
And definitely that's not a zero step because he already had his 2-foot gather, tried to go the extra step, lost his footing. That's why that caused a turnover.
Coach Kyle Julius telling his squad to relax. They still are enjoying a 5-point lead, but the knock on the door of the CLS Knights becoming louder and louder.
And how about his responsibility? Getting a new team to play this well and get into and put a system in them that would maximize all the things that they already have.
Another great block from Hughes, but CLS recovers, and Joato doing what he does best, getting that corner three. CLS Knights now within 2 points, 47-45. What an outburst they have had here in the third period. Timeout, Saigon Heat. After enjoying an 8-point lead earlier in this game at the half, that's what they had, the Saigon Heat. CLS Knights fighting back, and they have come within 2 points, 47-45, largely thanks to the brilliance of Monte Brandon here in the third period.
Double digits in the third period. Out of the 18 points that they scored, Monte Brandon just putting a little bit more pepper to their attack, playing hard on defense and on offense.
This is currently an 8-0 run for the CLS Knights, but Trayvon Hughes looking to take over. How impressive has this guy been?
And we were just talking off wax about his production. He has had 17 points, but the other numbers filling out the stat sheet, Trayvon Hughes doing what he does best, taking charge when the ship starts sailing on rough waters.
Absolutely. Earlier in the game, it was Bernatowski and Barone who led the charge. But now that CLS is knocking on the door, Trayvon Hughes just practically said, all right, I've had enough of this.
And it's his demeanor. After being pushed off the huddle of the other team, he just picked up his game.
You know what? That's right. Because it seems as though he just really stepped on the gas after that very little commotion with Maxi Yesho.
He was just trying to get their game plan. What's so bad about it? And Trayvon Hughes right now at 20 points, right?
Yep, 20 points and a bunch of other stuff.
5 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks. And I need to ask him later if he would still be cooking for the guys after the game.
How about 0 turnovers,
Yeah, that's a big thing. If you're playing that point guard position, 0 turnovers, that's perfect for you.
Hurt. Couldn't get it. Ball is lost. It will stay with CLS, and I thought that was the right call.
And how about Brandon Joato throwing his body around, securing that possession, taking out players around him?
He does have the strength and the build for that.
And the tats too.
Absolutely. I kind of miss his curls, though. He brought some nice curls when he flew to the launch of ABL 9.
But he's right now all business with that short cropped hair.
Here he is looking for teammates. Esho from outside. No, Baron up high for the board. 2 minutes remaining in the third period. Baron will take a three. Oh, banks it in. And that's a big one. That's a 6-0 blitz now for the Heat.
Bank is open even on a rainy night here in Indonesia.
And that just puts out the flame that was starting to boil before CLS Knights. And now you see it's those big shots, Martin, that take the confidence, the flow out of a team that's going on a run. You see them, the CLS Knights, now committing a turnover.
Coming off that timeout, making 6 straight points, right now trying to capitalize on this turnover and make it an even bigger lead. Weathering the storm that the CLS Knights gave them to start off the third quarter.
Baron looking for back-to-back. Not this time. Jawato sees an opening, takes it strong. Wayward on the attempt though. Hughes tops. In need of help. Ball was kicked out of bounds by Stephen Hurt.
But you got to give credit to Baron, sprinting down and challenging that shot of Brandon Jawato. Could have been an easy 2 for him, but Baron was there despite missing the 3-point shot.
Well, Baron's right up his average at this point. We did mention he norms 16 points, 11 rebounds. He's got 14 and 12 today.
Plus 4 assists. Just another day in the office.
Bernatowski has gone quite cold. 1 of 9 from downtown. And although that wasn't another miss, it was a turnover, sending that ball far out to no one.
And he was trying to tell his teammates to show up on the corner because he attracted the help side defender on the off-ball side, which is the right side of their front court. He was expecting a guy on the corner to be free.
Now the lead of Saigon has gone back to 8 points. It's the biggest that it has gone in this entire game. But CLS, you're seeing them a lot more confident. You see them with more flow. Brandon obviously trying to ignite something, anything for the Knights. Couldn't do so that time. Hurt goes down. Bernatowski, Baron, Hughes. The inside pass to Durker. And Chris Durker just lost control, but that was a fantastic pass.
Threading the needle on 2 defenders. And catching it. Durker just not able to handle it properly.
Esho now. Hughes there to help. And it's going to be another turnover. And Hughes.
And he lets him hear it.
Esho know.
Letting him hear it.
Those two guys have been going at it since
since
the early part of the third quarter.
And how about Trayvon Hughes not getting any rest in this game? Playing back-to-back games, full speed right now, ending the third quarter. That's 70 straight minutes.
There's a stoppage right now. I think some complications with the clock.
And a wet spot on the floor.
That is something that the referees and the officials here inside the Gor Kertajaya have been trying to address. 8-point lead right now for the Saigon Heat. What changed for CLS? Why did they? How were they able to show more fight in the third period?
Well, they were able to run a little bit more. They were able to capitalize on the misses, forced turnovers. They made shots. Basically, they just made shots. And Monte Brandon just stepping up his game. But still, it's an 8-point lead. They need to make up for lost time. Trayvon Hughes has an answer on his back pocket.
Well, he is. If I can ask you the reason why Saigon remains on top, but I know your answer is going to be
basic
Trayvon
Hughes. And the way that this team is made up, it's just complementary pieces. No guy trying to get shots outside his range, and they know who they go to on the last moment.
Hughes again, beating the third quarter buzzer. That is the guy you go to. Hughes pulling out a dance, and dance you can, young fella, when you've got 22 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals, and 2 blocks. I can tell you a lot more about Trayvon Hughes, but it's the end of the third quarter. His Saigon Heat up by 10. Fourth and final quarter between the CLS Knights as they host the Saigon Heat. A lot of ground to make up for Maxi Esho and the rest of the Knights. They're down by 10 after a Trayvon Hughes eruption in the third quarter. Jot Sulit and Martin Antonio on call for this one.
Finishing up that quarter with a total of 22 points. Trayvon Hughes igniting the run after that timeout, providing the answers to the CLS run.
Esho looking to provide. Nothing there in that jumper. Well, in that third period, Trayvon Hughes scored 13 points, Martin.
Reminiscent of his performance against the Black Bears, scoring 16 in the fourth quarter.
Bernatowski has gone a bit silent. You see that double team that he attracts. But Hughes, oh my goodness, that man is on a mission right now.
And it seems like they're taking turns. You get your points in the first half. That's what we're talking about. Bernatowski, get your baskets in the first half. I'll take care of business in the second half.
How about Monte Brandon doing some CPR for the CLS Knights? He is the biggest reason why they are still fighting here in the second half.
Not only CPR, the defibrillator is out trying to inject energy to the heart of the CLS Knights. Right now, it's a 10-point deficit for them. 9 minutes and 2 seconds remaining. He needs to be more assertive right now because Maxi Esho is not making his shots.
Esho has tried to help in other ways.
In other ways, passing for one.
He's got 6 assists, 5 rebounds, but one thing that has hurt them is his 5 turnovers. You also have to wonder, and I'll ask you this, why is CLS limited to only 3 free throw attempts? As you see that charging offensive foul called on Durker, that was drawn by Jawato.
They just need to gash the defense more. They need to force rotations on the defense of the Saigon Heat. You observed in the first half, we saw that they were just trying to go one-on-one. You can't get cheap fouls on that. If you try the defense to go from east to west instead going north to south, they would be more in tune to giving out fouls.
Because the free throws were also key in the win that CLS got over Hong Kong Eastern. They were 16 of 17 from the free throw line in that match, and 6 of 6 was Maxi Esho. And you just take a look at the skill. Just taking a look at the skill of Maxi Esho, you'd understand how and why he would get to the free throw line.
Tall, lanky, can shoot from the outside, can pick his spots from the elbow in. And it's still mind-boggling for me now that he's not operating on the pinch post, because that's his strength last year with the Saigon Heat.
Here comes CLS. Esho taking on Bernatowski. Another turnover for Maxi. It has been a frustrating evening for him. 8 steals now for Saigon. Bernatowski from outside. No.
And even though he missed that shot, that was a good shot coming from a cross-court pass. And he played lockdown defense on the other side on Esho.
And some of you guys watching, you may be wondering, why is Bernatowski showing frustration even if they're up by 9?
I think it's 1 out of 11, 1 out of 10.
1 out of 10 from the three-point line.
But he'll keep on shooting. That's what shooters do.
He does have 13 points. CLS, however, continues to miss, hurting their chances of getting back. Still a lot of time, though. Under 8 minutes to play. Hughes loses the basketball. His first turnover. Brandon with the left hand. No. Crashes into the stands.
Taking out the cameraman with him.
Trayvon Hughes blocked. Barone messes up the putback. Hidayat almost losing it by himself.
And looking like a tentative squad, the CLS Knights team. Not running any pattern, not going into their offense. It's just one-on-one, even though Stephen Hurt makes a 3.
That's something they badly need. A bucket, any bucket. And that also happens to be a 3-pointer from Hurt.
You know who he reminds me so much of? Sam Perkins. His demeanor, his build, his soft touch. Yeah, a lot like Sam Perkins. For the younger guys, go to YouTube and find out who Sam Perkins is. Big smooth.
4 seconds left. Barone left open. The composure and the vision of Hughes on full display.
And how about Barone catching it up top, not bringing it down, just finishing up on the inside.
Brandon out to Hurt. Thought about another three. Decides against it. Monte Brandon taking Bernatowski to the paint. But he was top. Great defense from Saigon Heat. Now they're trying to go quickly. Hughes shoots over Hidayat. Gets money on the three.
And just jogs down, just like any other shot. Trayvon Hughes just getting his points.
Some players would celebrate a three-pointer with a gesture that tells you, thank goodness that fell in. Trayvon Hughes, the message he sends is, of course, that goes in.
It's just part of the job. I just make shots.
27 big points for the import of Saigon Heat, and he has given Saigon an 11-point advantage. 62-51. It forces CLS to call another timeout. Back inside the Gorker Jaya for the continuation of the fourth quarter between the CLS Knights and the Saigon Heat. Trayvon Hughes now with 27 points. He is tied for the leading scorer of the entire ABL 9, 32.5 points per game.
And all of those shots coming in rhythm. Inside their offense, off passes, nothing forced. That's one thing that you should be observing about Trayvon Hughes.
Wei Long takes control, puts up a three. He misses, and Hughes, you can also count on him to get boards. They'll set up the offense of Saigon. Under 6 minutes to play. Hughes pulls up, draws the foul on Jawato. And that is gonna be foul number 3 on Brandon Jawato.
And the change of pace of Trayvon Hughes, getting into the attack, going slow to quick to slow, and then taking that foul, earning 2 free throws.
The change of pace nowadays, Martin, has become a lot more important compared to change of direction.
Exactly. Because changing of pace, you get your defender off guard. You catch them off guard. If they're backpedaling, you could go slow, so you would have enough space to jack up a three or just get into a jumper. If they're going fast at you, you could just counter them with a hesitation. It's a very basic north to south movements.
And the change of pace is a lot easier for the general population of basketball players compared to, you know, the need of being shifty and pulling out those crossovers.
That's God-given.
Stephen Hurt again with another three-pointer. If the third quarter of CLS belonged to Monte Brandon, this fourth so far has been Stephen Hurt's.
That's his second three-pointer of the ball game. On the other wing area,
Bernatowski finally getting one from deep.
I told you, shooters shoot. That's his second three-pointer of 11 attempts, right? 11 attempts.
And whatever CLS has to give to Saigon, the Heat always has an answer. Cornyawan misses from outside. Rebound for Barone. Kyle Barone with 18 boards already.
He's controlling that painted area. Not that much shot attempts in the second half, but he is the catalyst on the defensive side of the basketball.
Good steal for CLS. Wei Long comes out
to set the offense of the Knights. You see staggered screens coming from Hurt and Brandon, but Wei Long loses control of the basketball, and the reaction of Coach Brian Rossum, it tells you the entire story of this game for the CLS Knights.
It's the first time that they ran that stagger ball screen on the top of the key, resulted into a turnover. A lot of, on estimate, might be 70% of their plays were coming off one-on-ones.
And now Coach Rossum, oh, he's forced to pull out other looks and work some other magic because they have been stopped by the Saigon lead. Barone couldn't get the lay-in, but the rebounding crew of CLS collapsing, allowing Saigon another crack at it. Barone will try again. This time he gets it off the glass.
Well, he likes the more difficult shot, to say the least. Going into the paint, getting into a drop step, clutching it, using the right hand, and finishing off the glass.
No, actually, he just wanted another rebound.
Well, who wants to go? Who wants to go? Barbara Walters, 2020. We shall
Hurt
see.
From outside, this time it's a miss. And Esho has been having a hard time scoring the basketball, getting rebounds. We know the ability of Maxi Esho. He's performing way beneath that. Only 5 points in this game on 2 for 9 shooting.
And how about the defensive efficiency of Barnatowski? He made a three-pointer. Yes, that's 2 out of 11. But on the other side of the basketball, he has been shutting down Esho and took the ball away from Monte Brandon on one possession. That is his task.
CLS with another opportunity. The Saigon lead has ballooned to 14. Hurt would try to take away a few of those points, but couldn't do so.
Well, instead of just posting up and using his weight and height, keeps on shooting from the outside. He has that touch, but not making it on 2 consecutive. Might as well just go inside the paint.
Barone seems a bit shaken up with that by that collision with Monte Brandon. Take a look at that opportunity again opened up by Trayvon Hughes. And you saw how he was dribbling the ball far away from the three-point line, but he was dribbling with purpose. He was looking where they could get points, and he saw Barone by the corner.
And on that replay, Jute, when they swung the basketball and Barone got it, look who was closing out. It was Hurt. They forced a rotation, just a windshield wiper move, get into the paint, take the contact, earn 2 free throws, pad up the lead. It's very basic basketball.
Barone, however, misses from the free throw line.
That is one advantage that they have, the foot speed.
But Cal Barone has had a great evening. 18 points, 18 rebounds, and 5 assists.
Quiet 18 points.
Absolutely.
Compared to the production of Trayvon Hughes, that's a quiet 18 points, but he has been controlling the backboards.
CLS once again. Maxi Esho finally getting a bucket. And he also will get a chance at completing a three-point play.
And taking the contact.
That's right. And guess who was there to try and stop him?
Barnatowski. And it was very difficult for him. Anytime a right-hander would penetrate going to his left side, that would be a very difficult shot if it's a pull-up running shot and you have a defender draped all over you.
Esho completes the three-point play, getting his total up to 8 points. Well, this is just an 11-point advantage with 2:45. Still possible for CLS to get back, but they need to find a solution for Trayvon Hughes. What Jawato did here was give up a foul. That's going to be his 4th.
And a lot of those fouls coming into in the second half when they're trying to poke the ball out of Trayvon. He's trying to overplay him on the ball side.
3 team fouls each for Saigon and CLS, just to give you an idea of how many fouls they have to give. 1 each. 2.5 minutes remaining in this battle. This is the second meeting of CLS and Saigon. The first one was both teams' season openers. Barone from outside. Money on the 3! And you know what? This early, that could be a dagger. That could
Backbreaker.
be, yeah.
the shot that takes away the fight of CLS. We'll see what they can provide in this possession.
You know, if we go back to that turnover by Barnatowski a couple of minutes back when he threw the ball away on that kick out, it was the similar play, but the difference was there is a guy on the corner. So the helper's helper was forced to choose. Would he choose the corner guy or will he choose Baron on top of the wing area?
You see there, Celia trying to lock up Wei Long. That was the last foul to give of Saigon. The Knights will shoot free throws the rest of the way. Whenever there's a foul whistled on the Knights, save for offensive ones, do they have enough left in the tank to get back here? Baron tips that pass. A recovery for Utomo. He goes to the rack. What an attack there. He's straight from the bench.
And gave them a little stare down after making the shot.
Febri Utomo, one of the returning locals of CLS, providing. Jowato making those risky swipes still. And a foul eventually called as Trayvon Hughes continued to make his way to the basket. Looks like Utomo will be whistled for it.
Just waiting for the breakdown. Went for the fake handoff. Waited for the guy to bite on that fake and just going straight up.
A minute and 46, Trayvon Hughes back at the free throw line where he shot a remarkable 5 of 7. And Hughes has been very impressive, and that might even be an understatement in his first 3 games here in the ABL.
Consistent, impressive, and the furnace underneath the Saigon Heat, providing leadership, providing offense, and that moxie.
Check that, the foul was on Brandon Jowato, and that was his 5th, effectively disqualifying him from this contest.
Yes, Radar, we're playing under FIBA rules, so 5 fouls, that it's an automatic disqualification for you.
Well, we've been highlighting the absence of Maxi Esho. He hasn't been able to play to the Maxi Esho that we know here in the ABL. But I guess the same can be said about Brandon Jowato. He finished the game with 10 points on what should be an efficient 4 of 7 shooting.
But he is expected to do more.
Yeah, and you just didn't feel his impact
Exactly.
in the game.
And he has been saddled with foul trouble in the second half.
Averages 16 points and 5.5 rebounds a game. Jowato finished with 10. Here comes CLS. Wei Long from deep. He finds a way to drill in that 3-pointer.
So that's Wei Long from Wei Long.
That's right.
Exactly.
Bringing CLS within 11 points. Time not on their side, though. And Trayvon Hughes continues to lead the way for Saigon. Look at him, so steady. A pass to Baron. And that was some magic. Brought by Trayvon Hughes. Baron there to finish for his 23rd point.
And how about the fundamentals? Catching it, using the right pivot foot, and just turning and shooting. Being calm, collected.
Assist number 6 for Trayvon. Cornyawan takes it to the cup, was sent back by Baron. You know what? We also talked about Trayvon Hughes doing everything. You can say the same about Cal Baron. A big man, you expect points and rebounds, you expect blocks. He's also been shooting it from outside, had a couple of 3-pointers, 3 3-pointers actually.
And just providing solid defense. Very, very quiet. Just goes about the business. I like the world imports of the Saigon Heat.
It has been their recipe to success so far, and they are going to roll on to get their 3rd win in as many games. And Martin, the Saigon Heat looking to have a very solid ABL season.
A very, very interesting squad. Perfect complement of imports. Nobody ball dominant. They know who to go to when it's crunch time, and the other guys just fall into place.
More positives happening for the Saigon Heat. I want to ask you about the CLS Knights. There are cases in sports, not just basketball, where
a team, there's one team that you just cannot get over, you know? It's just that one team that's the worst matchup for you. Is it the case for CLS meeting with Saigon, or there were just a couple of breaks they couldn't get here in this game?
Well, number one, they were not running the patterns that they need to run. They were not getting into the positions that they have to be in. And Maxi Esho, their leader, he really needs to pick up his game, especially against his former team.
Calderon with an impressive performance here. Continues to add to his total. But also a lot of his points made possible by Trayvon Hughes. And that chemistry is what's important. The Saigon Heat, bringing in those imports, I know they haven't really practiced for long. They just had ample time in preparation for ABL 9 as a goaltending violation committed by Baron. And that will be the game. If Saigon, I don't think they'll even attempt here. Final score 76-62. An impressive performance for Saigon thanks to their imports.
Well, definitely perfect complementary players. They have locals who know their jobs and do their jobs to perfection. And whenever you have a top-heavy roster, you have Trayvon Hughes providing the moxie. You have Baron just doing the dirty work, and Bernatowski stepping up on that defensive side of the basketball. And that's the recipe for wins.
First part of this game, Martin, it was actually CLS behind Stephen Hurt, getting the advantage and making strides. But in the second, that's when Saigon responded. And it wasn't even because of Trayvon Hughes yet. It was more of Bernatowski and Baron. And when CLS was trying to fight back in the second half, that's when Trayvon Hughes took over.
Yeah, exactly. Taking over at the best possible time. And Trayvon Hughes, you said in the second quarter they had a 9-0 run. It was 4 points from Baron, a 3 from Trayvon Hughes, and a 2-point shot from Barnatowski. And in the second half, it was just Trayvon Hughes stepping up when Monte Brandon made his own run.
Yeah, that's right. You know, Monte Brandon, again, we said it earlier, he tried to spark a comeback for CLS, and he got the team within 2 points. But again, Trayvon Hughes just said, enough already. And I got my team. We did go all the way to Surabaya to absorb a loss. It's 2-0 now for Saigon over CLS and 3-0 start to ABL 9. What kind of message does that send to the entire league?
Well, you make a run at us, we will make a run at you. After that Monte Brandon run, Trayvon Hughes took the cudgel, scored a 6-0 blitz, and just securing this win. And Kyle Baron on the end game, just providing the daggers, the backbreakers, a 3, and a basket inside the paint.
And Martin, is also important to note how crucial the locals were. But before we talk about that, let's head on over to courtside for a quick interview.
Thank you so much, Dion. Well, Martin, obviously it's a painful loss that had to be absorbed by the home team. But what were the lessons that CLS can take from this match?
Number one thing is points off turnovers. You don't need to turn the ball over that much. You need to play within your system. You need to have a point of attack and a pattern to run 15 to 5 points off turnovers. The Saigon Heat really capitalizing on things and miscues that the CLS Knights did.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights from this contest. Brandon Jowato started out strong. He scored on the first three-pointer of this ball game, and Maxi Esho, he was poised. Actually, he looked very good to start the game. So did Stephen Hurt. But then CLS just crumbled in the second quarter. Remember how poorly they shot the basketball. Then 3 for 17.
They were not able to sustain the energy that they started with. A lot of shots coming on one-on-ones, and that paved the way for their energy to really drop down towards the third quarter. After that big run to start off that period, they filtered off, failed to at least get the lead.
In the second quarter, it was Bernatowski leading the way for Saigon as they got an 8-point lead at the end of the first 20 minutes of action. And as we mentioned, start of the third quarter belonged to Monte Brandon. You'll see some of his attacks here. He breathed some life back into the home team. But Trayvon Hughes always answered back. Stephen Hurt was also a big contributor in the first half, went silent in the second quarter.
A lot of his points, the 8 points that he got, was in the fourth quarter when the Saigon Heat clearly had the handle on the game.
Absolutely, and towards the end of it, it was just Saigon Heat answering every run that CLS could provide. Trayvon Hughes did not even score much in the fourth anymore, but he did facilitate, and that's why he got 8 assists.
And Kyle Baron, what about this guy? Just taking care of business on the inside, making things possible for his team to just hum.
Stephen Hurt had a couple of three-pointers in the fourth quarter, but that would be far from enough to get them back in the game, as Kyle Baron did not stop playing until the final buzzer.
Exactly.
And that will do it for this coverage. Thank you for joining us for another edition of ABL 9. For my partner, Martin Antonio, this is Jot Sulit. Continue watching ABL and continue rising to greatness. Let's talk more about the numbers here. 76 to 62 our final score, and the field goals not that far from each other, but where did Saigon separate?
Exactly,
themselves?
it's the free throws. You saw the free throw discrepancy. 15 more free throws for the Saigon Heat. 20 attempts compared to 5. Shows you aggressiveness, shows you energy, shows you intent.
Our player of the game is Trayvon Hughes. I don't think there's any argument to that. 30 big points. He played every second of this game, Martin.
And produced a little under his average of 32 and a half. A lot of points coming in the second half.
Again, he did it on both ends. More than the 30 points he had 7 assists, 8 rebounds, 4 steals, and 2 blocks. We kept repeating his total because it was really impressive.
And stat sheet stuff for this ball game, Trayvon Hughes. And throughout their 3 wins, that is what he has been doing.
Trayvon Hughes and the Saigon Heat getting a win here in CLS, in the home court of the CLS Knights. What a great game we witnessed here. And imagine we're just at the start of the ABL season and we're already having so many great games.
And we will be waiting for the other teams to come up because we've heard that there are a lot of changes on different rosters and a lot of new faces that we need to wait for as they rise for greatness.
Once again, we're thanking you for watching ABL 9, for supporting all the teams here. My partner, Martin Antonio. Thank you, Martin, and welcome to the ABL.
Yeah, thank you.
My name is Jot Sulit. Please continue watching ABL 9.